Thank you, Chairman Bradley, and thank you, Dr. Barb and Dr. Sonheimer, for your wonderful comments. It's another example of how, through partnerships, we can really improve the quality of life in the state of Missouri. And that's what the University of Missouri system is all about. It's one of our mission statements, and we certainly are paying lots of attention and making the appropriate investments for it. Good morning. It's great to be with you today. It continues to be a pleasure and honor to speak with you as president of the University of Missouri system. This is my first fall semester as president. I must tell you there's something electric in the air. Going around the campus and seeing the energy of the students digging into another semester is just inspiring for me, as well as rain in the air for our farmers is also well needed, and we're blessed to have that. And obviously, or excuse me, I heard this morning that it's going to turn into a beautiful afternoon and a beautiful day tomorrow for football. So a lot of good things going on here in Columbia as well as across the state. I want to also talk this morning about what we're seeing on the campus this fall. In the Chancellor's panel, you're going to hear some specific details campus by campus on some of the great changes that we have with the student body here on campuses in the fall. A couple of things that I can highlight, though, before the chancellors get into details. From a system-wide standpoint, we're looking at about a 2% increase year over year, so we're up to 75,000 students. And to put that in perspective, that's a growth of 23,600 students since when I was a freshman here back in '76. But what's really interesting about that growth statistic is 80% of that growth has come in the last 12 years. So you've really seen this increase in the student population quite dramatically in the last 12 years. Not only is the student base from a quantity standpoint growing, is also growing from a quality and a diversity standpoint. What we're seeing on our campuses in Columbia and Kansas City, Raleigh, and St. Louis is record scores in terms of average ACT, also records in GPAs, increases in minority students. Quite simply, this is the strongest student class that we've ever had in the history of the University of Missouri system. It's really been a busy summer for me and the rest of the team, the leadership team across the system. A couple things that have occurred this summer to update you on. In July, the Columbia campus hosted the first Small Modular Reactor Summit. At stake is as much as $452 million being offered by the U.S. Department of Energy for proposals to design, build, and operate small modular nuclear reactors. They're called SMRs, considering the next generation of nuclear reactors. Currently, we're working with a master research agreement with Westinghouse, who is the lead in this grant application, in which we can take the nuclear research that we have here on campus in Columbia with our wonderful nuclear reactor, as well as the nuclear reactor that we have at the S&T campus. We're combining the research potential and capacity there to partner with them, and we're the only state that has that nuclear capacity on 2 different locations. So that's a unique value add to the program and to the application that Westinghouse put forward with their partner Ameren. If we should succeed in winning this, it will be dramatic in terms of the potential increase in capacity and research for the University of Missouri system. It also will be hugely important for Missourians because it will increase the nuclear capacity of the Ameren plant. They have the ability to add 5 of these SMRs to the existing nuclear plant there that gives us more sustainable, clean energy. Not only was Ameren and Westinghouse on the grant application, but all the co-ops were supporting this. So it's the whole electronic distribution ecosystem that is supporting this proposal, and I really believe it positions us uniquely as it compares to the other 3 proposals that have been submitted. So there's a wonderful nuclear increase opportunity, but also from an economic development standpoint, this might be the most transformational piece of this potential announcement is if in fact Westinghouse, Ameren, and the rest of the team is selected as one of the one award winners of the $452 million, we will be not only increasing the capacity, but the design, the development, manufacturing, construction of these SMRs that can be transported across the world will be done here in the state of Missouri, which means thousands of jobs here. So we would be key in providing them the research talent here, as I described, research talent to develop these nuclear reactors, as well as the workforce needs to supply the necessary skills to build out the manufacturing base for these SMRs that will be transported across the world. So this is a significant opportunity, could be one of the biggest announcements for our great state in many, many years. So we're excited, got our fingers crossed, and we are doing everything that we can to improve our position and hope to hear about the award soon. Not only are these campuses engaged in research into alternative energy sources like nuclear, I'm proud to say our campuses are living labs for these ideas as well. Let me give you some examples. In Columbia, the campus leaders have made a commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 30% by 2016. In addition to various conservation measures, an important piece of this commitment is the biomass boiler project that should come online at the end of this year. It's using a variety of regionally supplied, sustainable, harvested biomass materials such as corn cobs, waste, paper, etc. And its hopes is to decrease the coal usage by over 25%. So it's a significant step forward, significant investment, and took some strategic leadership and some risk to put this in place. But it's the right thing to do. Another example is Missouri S&T broke ground on a geothermal energy project that is expected to cut the campus's annual energy use in half and reduce its carbon footprint by 25,000 metric tons per year. I'm really proud of the leadership of our chancellors that have shown in this area, and I look forward to the continued success in reducing our carbon footprint. It really is right for our campuses, it's right for the system, and it's right for the planet. Throughout the summer, I've also spent a significant portion of my time touting the university with various groups. After last board meeting, I had the opportunity to participate in an education panel with Civic Progress in St. Louis. This group of business leaders was very receptive to our message, and I think they'll be an ally for the university now and into the future. I've also had the opportunity to meet with several groups, including the UMKC Board of Trustees, a leadership group from the MU Faculty Council, retirees from each of our 4 campuses, which are a fairly significant, vocal, and active constituency group that is just a bunch of fun to talk to, and they are so eager to help us out in any way we can. So we're keeping them as current as we possibly can with all the activities, and we're giving them content which they can distribute and communicate and help us in our mission of improving the awareness of all things that the University of Missouri system does. As I travel around the state, I'm continually impressed by the commitment Missourians have to the University of Missouri. People have a lot of ownership in our great institution, and it really does inspire me and the rest of the leadership to work even harder because they really have a sincere, pure passion towards the University of Missouri, and they would like to see it successful. And it's up to us to give them the ideas and give them the information in which they can communicate out to their neighbors and their constituents so that we can all band together and make sure that we're doing the right thing and they're supporting us financially. I also want you and those in the audience today to be aware that at the end of the month, I'll be holding the system's first Twitter town hall. I hope this is yet another opportunity for me to answer some questions and folks to get to know me and the system a little bit better. It's a social media technology that I've gotten used to. Amy's been on it for quite some time. I'm a novice. My handle is UMPrez. Just to show you my age, I used to have a handle when we had CV radios in the car, so now my handle is UMPrez, and now I've got a Twitter handle. So things, you just got to keep up with all this great technology. But the wonderful thing about this social media and this technology is it allows you to get out instant information to a new demographic, a demographic that's more comfortable in communicating that way. And we've obviously been on Facebook. And so trying out these technologies has been a bunch of fun. You learn as you go, you make mistakes, and you just move on. But it's just amazing to see how many people are following you and how the content that you distribute brings back other content. So it's a give and take kind of scenario, and I've been very impressed with the information that I've learned in this Twitter universe that I'm happy to be part of. Of course, central to my work as president is continue to ensure we make progress in each of the 6 strategic priorities that I talked to you about in our last meeting. So I'd like to update you on each of the 6 priorities and the progress we've made since our last conversation. First off is focused strategic planning. For higher education institutions like ours, the need for change is evident. Given our interest in leading versus following, we continue to refine our existing strategies and have meaningful conversations about how we will adapt for the future. These newly refined statements with concise objectives will be used to further focus strategic action plans, and those will be supported by financial plans. So our strategic statements are supported by the financial plans, and we need to make sure that we invest appropriately in those strategic plans so that we can perpetuate the success that we're seeing on our campuses. We're also having a conversation this afternoon, early in the morning, and then this afternoon with a leader in higher education, Michael Crow from ASU, who's seen dramatic growth in a very complex environment in his state of Arizona. So we're bringing in some people that have been through similar challenges to listen to how they've responded to those challenges and how they're positioning their institution for success. The general officers are also engaging in ongoing discussions about local, state, national, and international issues that drive the case for change. Among these issues are the volatile economy, changing demographics are a reality. We have to serve a demographic population that's different in the future than we've served in the past. Recognizing what the needs of those demographics are will allow us to better compete for those students and making sure that they're on our campus versus another campus. There's also the real possibility of a stagnated state and federal budget, and their support for higher education and research will continue to be under stress. We have to recognize that, so we have to find alternative sources of revenue. Also, the need for STEM-educated graduates and this disruptive innovations related to online learning and other things, we have to accept that's our new reality, our new normal, and we have to eagerly involve those technologies as well as involve those needs in the marketplace in what our plans are. Currently, my team and I are working on developing a template that will be used by the campuses in which to present their plans, so we have consistency in terms of the presentation of the plan. As I told you in our last June meeting, we had a successful 2-day planning session which kicked off the Focus Strategic Planning process, and it's a never-ending process. We have another meeting scheduled in October. This process will ultimately result in a plan that will build on the existing campus plans that are already out there, and will integrate them into a system-wide strategy with targeted system support and financial investment. So we'll be more declarative as to who we are, what we will be, and what we will need to support that growth and that achievement. And once you have the clarity of that, we can take it out to our constituency groups, be it the state, be it the federal, be it our alumni, be it our students, be it our parents. Take it out to all those constituents and make sure that they appreciate it, understand it, and we validate it, that that is what we should be as we look to the future. And with that conversation, there might be some tweaks along the way, but also through that conversation, hopefully we will be getting their support to make sure that they're on board in us implementing and achieving those objectives that we've defined. It's clear to me, though, that no matter what we do from a strategic planning standpoint, is we have to attract and retain the best, the brightest faculty on a global basis, as well as the staff members. Without the greatest faculty and staff members, our ability to achieve a strategic vision becomes less and less doable. And attracting, retaining the best people was the second strategic priority that I'd like to give you an update on. Since June, I told you that our wonderful human resource team was nearing completion on a major project that began in 2010 to build a new classification and compensation structure for staff. This covers 8,000 of our employees and more than $700 million in payroll. The project is intended to provide more transparency in the job classification and compensation processes, as well as offer more attractive career paths to our employees. As of this month, all job families have been evaluating the campuses are calibrating results to reach consistency. We're now discussing implementation plans for each job family, as well as the overall communications rollout plan. We're continuing to adapt our benefit program in response to increasing costs. As you know, the new retirement plan project for new employees only will be implemented October 1st. All administrative pieces of the new retirement plan are in place and will be ready to launch this change in a few short weeks. Changes to the retirement savings programs are also going extremely well. We've had many group meetings on all of our campuses and at the healthcare system. Fidelity, TIAA, Craft, and have held hundreds of one-on-one meetings. Employee and administrator feedback has been extremely positive, and most importantly, we've received hundreds of new enrollments to these programs in a very short period of time. Finally, we're making strides on the People Initiative that collectively focuses on reinforcing the quality of our faculty and staff and establishes listening opportunities for improving employee satisfaction and engagement. In fact, we've kicked off some surveys for the first time from a system standpoint to gauge what our customer satisfaction and our customers the campuses as well as other functions that we support, and trying to get a baseline of how we're doing in terms of delighting them. Next, I'd like to talk about an area that is increasingly important to our students today, an area that will be pivotal to our success in the future. It's innovative instruction. With the system's focus on providing the campuses with support to expand the e-learning activities, we are making great strides. At MU right here, total enrollments on online classes are up 22% this year. And the campus recently announced that it will be investing $2.5 million in the development of online programs over the next year, with more to follow. At the start of the semester, I was able to meet with the MU's inaugural class of the executive MBA students, which combines online flexibility with on-campus learning from MU's prestigious MBA program. One example of a brand new innovative program developed by MU that meets the needs of the online demographic that needs that online education. Also at UMKC, we now have 15 fully online degree programs with 21% of UMKC students taking at least one online course. They're also starting a national search for the Associate Vice Provost for Online Learning to help guide e-learning initiatives. At Missouri S&T, it's examining how to design and deliver lab sections of courses online, and has expanded its eFellows program where faculty learn about teaching online while building online courses to involve even more faculty and improve what their e-learning offerings down at Rolla. Finally, UMSL is embarking on an aggressive marketing strategy with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch to promote its new online Bachelor of Liberal Studies degree. Additionally, the campus has reorganized its e-learning activities to integrate fully with the regular program operations and offerings. As you know, the e-learning portal is up and running, and we are entering the next phase of its development with enhancements focused on providing support to students who are taking classes at one of our institutions. We know that roughly 1 of 4 of our students are already taking at least one online course. We'll soon begin marketing the system portal so more people know about all the offerings that each of our campuses have. These communications will be targeted both to traditional students as well as non-traditional students using a variety of online social network venues and channels. So we are making significant progress in our online e-learning opportunities, and right now in the past 12 months we're growing faster than the market, but we have a long way to go, and the opportunities are really endless, and we have the energy, focus, and support behind this very important initiative. Next of the 6 strategic priorities is the Operational Excellence Initiative that, is intended to bring more efficiencies and effectiveness system-wide. Since we last met, the first phase of our commitment planning and support systems project has gone live with the goal of providing systematic support for budgeting and strategic planning. It is expected to save the system millions in both process savings as well as the ability to manage our resources more effectively. The second and third phases related to detailed budgeting are expected to be completed in 2014. We're also making progress in our Order to Pay project, which realizes hard savings through payment discounts and increased revenues from credit card rebates, and soft savings by achieving process efficiencies. This impact is expected to be in excess of $2 million annually on the Order to Pay project. That project is slated to launch in November. The total of our operational excellence initiatives are projected to save this year approximately $3.5 million. Those savings can be plowed back into our mission-critical activities, and this is a never-ending process of trying to figure out how we can take those somewhat manual processes or redundant processes, consolidate them, automate them, and take that savings and redeploy those into more critical needs. So we're very excited about the savings that we're going to see over the next 5 years based on the initiatives that we've already have in place, as well as the initiatives that we're bringing online this year. Next area that I need to update you on is the Expand Research and Economic Development. We had a Research Leaders Summit that included research leaders from the system of each of our as well as the research leaders from each of our 4 campuses. It was held in late July. It had a follow-up session just last Friday to prepare a system-wide action plan to address the following 3 priorities. And these 3 priorities were developed by the vice presidents of research from each of the campuses, as well as Mike Nichols from System. Those 3 priorities are increased research collaboration with industry. Back to my previous point, with the stress on state and federal funding, we have to look for alternative revenue sources to continue to fund our research interest. The second one was increase interdisciplinary inter-campus collaborations, which is very exciting. And the third is to enhance UM's recognition as a research leader amongst our peers. Already since the summit, a draft for the grant program to increase interdisciplinary and inter-campus collaborations with the University of Missouri system has been proposed. In order to be considered for this unique funding opportunity, each proposal must involve faculty from at least 2 of the UM campuses and from at least 2 different disciplines. In regards to industrial research, the Office of Research and Economic Development has recently initiated modifications to a business policy that will lower the cost for industry sponsors who want to work with the university, which again suggests that we will be much easier to work with on a go-forward basis as we talk to our wonderful industry partners. We anticipate this is going to add a lot of flexibility to the negotiation process, increase our turnaround time for those proposals that we're working with industry on, and it'll increase the number of research contracts, industrial research contracts, as well as the dollars that we can obtain from our industry partners. As you may know, a major goal of Office of Research and Economic Development is to keep the pipeline from innovation to commercialization open. And I'd like to quickly give you an overview of some of the programs that we have in place to make that happen. For those that are just beginning to do the basic research or test ideas, the system provides funding from the Research Board. We've been doing this for several years. We spend about $2.6 million on that kind of research on an ongoing basis. This would include researchers that are just testing out their ideas, but one of the challenges that we have is as you go through the continuum of research is you get to a point where you've got enough substance to your research that you have to translate that into a proof of concept. And that proof of concept has to solve a particular problem or be applicable or something that somebody would invest in, and that's kind of the trough of research. And what we're going to do to try and keep that those opportunities in the funnel moving from left to right is to fund that through a new a re-announced Fast Track Funds program. We put this in place, as I understand, in 2009. We've seen significant advantages of those investments, and we're putting that Fast Track funding opportunity back there. And also we have the Faculty Innovation Awards, which gives UM faculty an entire year to work with campus resources at the Life Science Incubator and advance the commercial potential of those innovations. So I've mentioned the Fast Track program. Let me talk to you about the advantages that we've already seen with the Fast Track investments that we made back in 2009. And this was funded from the state. It was $600,000 from the state. We have 4 license agreements from the Fast Track program, 1 option agreement, 2 startup companies, 1 new incubator tenant, and there's other accomplishments associated with Fast Track. So this is an investment that reaped dividends, and we're going to kick that off again this year. In addition to Fast Track and Faculty Innovation Awards, the system also supports the Enterprise Investment Program. This is the program that Dr. Nichols and Gary Forsey started a few years ago. We announced 2 startups last year. We have applications in-house that we're evaluating for additional startup funding, and we'll do that again this year. So what we're doing is we're offering a more robust portfolio of options for our researchers that allows them to move move their research, initiate their research and move that through the continuum as quickly as possible, with the intent that we can increase our research capacity and provide more innovation and commercialization at the back end that helps us from a revenue standpoint, that can go back into research, helps us from a visibility and a brand and global image, and it's a critical point for our AAU membership here at MU, and we're excited about the creativity of these new investments that have been brought forward by the Vice Presidents of Research or Vice Provosts of Research on each of the 4 campuses in collaboration with Mike Nichols. Our goal is to accelerate the process of moving innovation to market as quickly as possible, and these investments that we're going to make and the focus that we're going to put on that should allow us to see measurable improvements in our results on a go-forward basis. The last area, the last priority that I need to update you on is the effective communication of our value and importance. During our last board meeting in June, you heard the MOCOM committee, which is comprised of the top communication leaders of each of our 4 campuses, talk about some of their ideas. Let me tell you where we are on those. We are launching a new communication strategy to raise the awareness of the aggregate impact of the 4 campuses system in the southern part of our state. They're also identifying ways to generate even more efficiencies among the campuses through the communications operations. To augment these efforts, the Strategic Communications teams have developed a communication plan aimed at helping raising the profile of 4 distinct campus brands. They've identified new opportunities to share our message to groups not yet reached. We've touted the impact of our campuses on our state at the Missouri State Fair recently, and are reaching out to more constituencies to help them keep them updated on university activities and ask them to join us in communicating our impact.